Hello, I am Mr. DeVoe. I am the sixth grade Green Team Social Studies teacher, and I apologize that I am not able to make open house this week. It was my intent to be there, but unfortunately, I cannot be there. And I'm sure your children have told you that I've been out all week. I will hopefully be in school again next week, and I just wanted to give you a little overview of sixth grade social studies, a little bit about me, and how things will work this year. So, a little bit about me. I am a Valley Central graduate along with Mrs. Jackson and Mrs. Jennings. We went to sixth grade here. We know what it's like to be in these seats, and we're very proud to be back in Valley Central teaching. This is my 21st year teaching and my 18th year teaching sixth grade as a whole. I have taught ELA before, I've taught first grade, I've taught fourth grade in the district as well. In addition to teaching, I also direct our middle school and high school musical productions. I normally just do the high school, but this year I've been asked to do the middle school as well. So that'll be happening soon. When I have time, I like to myself be on stage in community theater productions if I'm available. And if your students have told you, I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I have a lot of Harry Potter stuff in my classroom, and there's just something about those stories that got kids reading when I was an ELA teacher that I just really, really liked and held on to. And every year I get some kids to read them to get them excited about it, which I love. So, a little bit about sixth grade social studies. Social studies is a little different for some students not used to having it every day. Um, for 40 minutes, 5 days a week, we will do our best to merge that from elementary school to middle school. One of the big topics in social studies is the understanding of geography. And so that is embedded throughout the whole year. We'll look at different kinds of geography, geographic features, how that impacts life, and how it impacts human interactions. And so by the end of the year, students should be able to really understand geography of the world. Along with geography comes math skills. And that's a big thing, longitude, latitude, compass rose, but it's more about interpreting a map. If I give you a map, what can you learn from it? Can I give you a map and you can identify places on that map? So we will have some map activities and projects where they have to plot places and label things just to get used to looking at maps and understanding how to read them as well. And then interpret them. What can we learn from that map? What can we learn from the symbols on the map about the area it's talking about? And that's a big thing. We want to make sure they're really exposed to map skills as the year goes on. Bulk of our curriculum in sixth grade will be studying ancient civilizations in the Western Hemisphere. Of the Eastern Hemisphere. We're in the Western Hemisphere. They did that last year. So we go now to the East and to Mesopotamia and some other in Egypt. And we'll really focus on how those civilizations were set up and how they became so big and what contributions they made. So we start with right now, we're looking at prehistory, early man, the Stone Ages, when stone tools were used, looking at artifacts, examples of fossils. We're not talking dinosaurs, that's 65 million years earlier than we're looking at, but we're looking at early man and how they survived. And then how those early man traveled into other parts of the world, creating the civilizations that we are studying. So from there, we go to Mesopotamia, which is in modern day Iran, Iraq, that area of the Fertile Crescent, Tigris and Euphrates River, Mediterranean Sea, and how those rivers really helped develop that civilization. From there, we'll jump over to Egypt and learn about the Nile River and mummies and pyramids and pharaohs. We'll spend then a little time in India learning about the religions there and some of the contributions from India. And from there, we'll move on to ancient China and learning about the government styles, Confucius. We'll get into then our classic civilizations, which are a little different from the first ones because those are more what we call river civilizations, all centered around river and water. Our classic civilizations like Greece and Rome were where we see a lot more of the government that came out in the world that we still have today, from democracy to republic, and the different contributions and artwork and things that flourished during those periods of time. It's always fun to take virtual tours of the Colosseum if we can, virtual tours of the Parthenon, and so some of the activities we'll have will be looking at those things. While we are looking at those civilizations, we look at what are called grapes. We look at the geography. How did the physical geography affect the growth of those ancient civilizations? The religions. What were the beliefs and values of ancient people's daily lives? How did religion impact their lives? What were some of the religions? I mean, we don't actually, we're not preaching religions. We're just learning the basics, understanding that because each one seems to pop up in these civilizations, and it was a big part of their lives. Um, Achievements. What historical achievements was each civilization known for? What did they create that we still use today for things like silk and paper, to the wheel, even, looking at plumbing, grid system for our cities. All those things were once created and then we still use. And then politics is about the way that the governments developed. What laws were created? Was there a pharaoh, a dictator, a ruler, emperor? What created these governments? Was it king? Who made the laws? How did they follow them? And then we'll get into a little bit with economics. How did these people get wealth? They didn't have money at first. Well, how did they become wealthy? What made somebody wealthy? And that was like having a lot of stuff. And so with metals and things, eventually we see coin created. And the last thing we look at is the social structure, how the daily interactions of different social classes influence the social structure. And they're very similar in a lot of them. We put them on a social pyramid. Who is at the top with the most power, but the most people at the bottom had the least amount of power. And that was very similar throughout a lot of those civilizations. So we do look at Hinduism, Buddhism, we'll do some Confucianism, Taoism. We'll even talk about Islam. We'll do Christianity and Judaism. We hit upon a lot, and we just hit the basic beliefs. And it's important to know, because these are people around us every day that are still following these religions, that it's important for students to know that they exist, and that when they see people practicing them, that that's what they're doing. They're not, no reason to make fun of anybody, but having that understanding really helps to build relationships. And that was the theme for this year, is about building better relationships. And if we have an understanding of these other religions and things that people practice and believe, we will have better understandings and better relationships with our peers and the people around us. And then from there, we will also look at briefly the government in Europe under feudalism and how that was a little different. And we'll touch upon some of the Middle Ages. We'll get to the Black Plague, and we'll look at castles if we have time. And so that's kind of where we end the year. So we look at prehistory, and we kind of end at the 1500s, and that's kind of where sixth grade social studies kind of ends. For my daily assignments, a lot of them are posted on Google Classroom. The labs, the tests, and quizzes are all there, and grades are usually posted there. So before they get to School Tool, always check Classroom. A lot of times I grade things, and then I don't always transfer them over because I do it by hand to Classroom, so to School Tool from Classroom, so it takes a little longer, but they're always there. There's actually, students have a View My Work tab that has all their assignments and all their grades. It's a great place to look. We do a lot of notes in class, so I have the kids studying, reading what they did. I highlight, we underline things. I like having notes because I feel that those tangible things, they get more out of than just typing things. So we do a mix of classroom stuff. We do a mix of notes. We will have some projects throughout the year, some hands-on activities as well, some map assignments. So we do a lot of different kinds of things that will make up the grades. And those grades are made up of 50% is tests and quizzes. So that's, half of their grade is those tests and quizzes. And the rest of that's made up from classwork, labs, and projects. That's 40%. And the final 10% is the homework. And then homework is given nightly. It's not hard. It's usually finishing some questions, worksheets. It's not every day. It could be on a Friday. Depends on where I am on a lesson. the kids will see I'm a very routine-based person, so they'll have certain homeworks for every section. It's kind of a review. The same questions that are on the homework will also be the questions they may see on the quiz. So it's helpful that they do those assignments, and it will give them some things, some practice, some review as well, especially for a test or a quiz. And then office hours, we all have office hours. Mine are Tuesdays and Thursday mornings before school. Because of rehearsals after school at the shows, I'm not available usually after schools and meetings. So mornings are much easier for me. Students just need to let me know ahead of time that they're coming. I'm also available if they need me during lunch or study hall. Again, students just have to make an appointment with me in case I have a meeting or I'm supposed to be somewhere else during that period. But mostly in the mornings. I know that's hard for a lot of students to get there, but I'm usually there for review. It's always good to come maybe a review day for a quiz. Those are the perfect time to meet with me, especially for students. For me, email address is the easiest way. I contact, I respond faster. I can always respond to a voicemail, but it does take me, I have to wait till I have time in the day, and I have to find a class where my room is used during the days that, periods that I'm not teaching, so I have to find a spot to make a phone call. So email is the best and quickest, in all honesty, to get a hold of me. And I usually respond fairly quickly if I can. And that's pretty much about sixth grade. Social studies is fun. The kids tend to love it. We try and make it interesting, something new, because I know for a lot of people, they hear social studies, they think boring. Uh, I'm trying not to do that. We look at primary and secondary sources throughout the year. We do writing. We've constructed responses on quizzes and things. I do have a writing piece for every assessment to get them more writing with content. So we're using those skills that are in all the other classes, and we put them together in social studies as well. And so I asked, we all work together, and we know we've done this many times. The sixth graders are going to have a successful year. We're looking forward to a wonderful year with these kids, and I'm looking forward to it too. I'm looking forward to seeing them again. I've only seen them for a little bit of time this year, and I'm excited. I'm hoping they are too. This is going to be a fun year, and hopefully at the end of the year we can go on a field trip uh, and maybe look at some artifacts and things that we've been talking about throughout the school year. So more information on that as we get approval. But for now, thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for watching my video. And please email me if you have any questions. And I wish you a wonderful night, and I'm looking forward to a wonderful school year. Thank you so much.